All right, we got Ben Pierce with us to promote our first ever Soul and Spirit show, August 16th. Need a little laughter. How are you doing today, Ben? Thank you for being here.
I'm fine. This is the worst time of my life ever. I'm just kidding.
Right
we just
now.
we just had this conversation.
Right now.
We just had this. The real conversation is I'm on vacation pretty much this week.
You know what? Any exchange I get to have with you is a treat. So I count it as a blessing.
This is good beer, Soul and Spirits.
You heard it from Ben, not first, but you heard it from Ben.
Oh, I was the first one to think that.
No.
I'm glad you like me so much.
Yeah, no, I would gladly be stuck in a full, I would commit to a Groundhog Day situation with just this.
Oh, like doing the podcast over and over?
Just wake up, we're here. And we're being told that it didn't pick up the first time and we have to re-record the intro.
Yeah, that's even more. It's just like over and over, the intro over and over and over until you get it so perfectly.
We're promoting the...
But only you're doing it perfectly. I have no clue because you're the one doing the Groundhog Day.
Oh,
it's
right.
Like you're Bill Murray. I'm just the other suckers.
I'm always Bill Murray.
I'm Andy McDowell.
Andy McDowell.
Yeah, you're trying to...
What a treat.
Get me to fall in love with you. With a podcast intro.
Is it working? Oh my goodness, those eyelashes. Goodness gracious. Yeah.
You got some weird questions to ask me?
I've got some questions for you. First, I already know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you anyway so that you can tell our lovely listeners.
Maybe I don't want to tell them.
How long you've been on the scene.
Oh.
I know that part at least. And then what made you start doing this particular form of psychological torture in the first place?
So are you talking about me being manipulative right now, like socially? Or are you talking about stand-up? Which one are you?
Stand-up, but I'd love to explore the other at some point if we wanted to talk more about that.
I've been performing stand-up for a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
I've been writing it for much longer than that. But I just spared the public a few years of garbage.
I get that.
Yeah. So people are surprised. I'm not trying to blow my own horn or whatever, toot it. I'm not trying to toot. I am tooting, but I'm not trying to toot my own horn.
Don't blow your own horn
also,
here,
I'm not sure
okay?
How to toot someone else's horn.
You
shouldn't be blowing other people's horns.
This is still a kid-friendly brewery, okay? So just like...
Kids love toots.
Ease up on blowing your horn.
Oh, that just sounded dirtier than what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I'm talking about farts.
Yeah, you can toot. You can toot and get on with it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what actually was like the thing that got you out the door and on the stage for the first time?
Oh.
Like what was that creature?
Yeah.
I saw it.
I think
it had more limbs than it should. So I'm literally asking, what was that thing that literally pushed you on stage for the first time?
I think it was already my intention to be a professional comedian. Like I had already decided that years ago. And then I was like I had been taking classes, like acting classes and improv stuff. But that was because pandemic happened and I couldn't do stand-up. So then for a couple years, I was just doing stuff that I could do that didn't involve being in public because of pandemic bullshit. So am I allowed to cuss? I don't know. Should I reel it back?
I'll allow it.
So we got beepers, right? You can beep it. Anyway, yeah, so then I kind of was like writing a lot of sketches, and then I decided to start filming these sketches. And I filmed a sketch called Gordon and Gordon, which is a parody of a Morgan and Morgan commercial. And the star of that is Zach Williams, who is a fellow stand-up in our scene.
Great stand-up.
And yeah, we just had like a meeting right before we shot it or something. And he was like, I'm about to go to the Lamp to do a set. And I was like, oh yeah, I write stand-up. And then I was like, I'm just going to go with you and just do it. because there was just like
I think I was there your first
momentum.
night.
maybe. Were you?
I think I was.
I feel like you told me that maybe.
Because you said it was your first night. And I remember the friends I was with, they did not like your set, but it was because you did like a more like ballsy one.
Yeah.
That it's the one where you like are pushing a certain premise over and over again to the point where it's not funny anymore, and you're committed to keep pushing it until it gets to the point where it's insanely funny.
Yeah.
But you have to wade through that no man's land of people actually hating you every time you mention that joke again.
Yeah.
And I just remember seeing you do that and being like, I see what you're doing there. That takes a lot of guts to do that. Like right out the gate. But yeah, I'm not that brave to do a bit like that.
Yeah, it's simple, and it was just everything was. I was just doing. It's give it up. There's this thing in like comedy where like you see. It actually came from a place of frustration. Like if you're in the audience at an open mic or even like a show, it's typical behavior for the host to be like, give it up for everything. Give it up for this. Give it up for that. Give it up for yourself. Give it up for your next person. The person comes on, they do their set, you clap for them as they're walking off, and then the host says, give it up again for this person, and then like give it up for your next person. And it's like kind of a constant. I understand you're like keeping a hype going, but sometimes it's like it's so manufactured. I don't know, it's so like it's like
if you don't like my hosting, you could tell me off camera.
No, you're a great host. You're a great host. It's really just when like someone didn't do that great, and we gave them a little bit of clap for like, you know, good, you tried, and then they get on like, now give it up for them, and we're like, come on, like we already gave them more than what we should have given them.
The allotment, yeah.
So I just said something, and I said give it up, and I did that for 5 minutes straight, and I just started making shit up and just saying it and give it up, and I know that there's that. I learned this is Andy Kaufman. It's just like you do this thing, people think it's funny the first like 10 seconds, then they hate you, then they really hate you, and then their mind goes numb, and then they come back, and then they're like, what the hell, you're so committed, this is crazy. I'm also like, what's happening? This is like hilarious. And I still remember that.
What a scamp. What's he doing up there? What is he doing up there? He just keeps repeating that.
Yeah. I remember the pit in that moment. I still remember it. Yeah. I was just like, you guys hate me? And then like Katrina Coleman goes, keep going. And
yeah, I mean, it's like once you're in it, you gotta, No, I really enjoyed it, but.
That's awesome. It's funny you were there.
Yeah, my first night ever of stand-up was at High Tone.
I missed that, but I do remember the first time I saw you. I was like, this is great. Just like.
What material was I doing at the time? Do you remember? Like, was this just, I mean, it's all similar, I guess.
It is. It's like, you know, you talk about.
Mentally unwell and grieving.
Yeah, you talk about yourself and your problems and you just wrap it all up in this like overwhelming, dreadful thing that you're kind of like, like laughing at.
Ain't that just the way?
Yeah. And it's fun to watch some people just be uncomfortable because they're like, I don't know how to react to this. But I'm just like, that's hilarious. That's life. I mean, if everything can go wrong, it will. And you're just like, everything goes wrong with me. And here it is. Laying it out.
I was something terrible in a past life. I'm telling you that much. It's like, it just, woof, you know? It's just, someone keeps grabbing the controller and like selecting character development over and over and over again, you know?
Yeah.
At this point, I'm just like, I got character for days. All right. Just want to take a nap. Can we do that? But yeah, no, also as someone who has been like made uncomfortable my whole life, just based on like people thinking I don't fit into some standard that I just should. It's kind of vengeance. I'm not going to lie.
It's what? What's that word you just used?
Vengeance.
Oh, vengeance. I didn't hear it.
Yeah. No, I had this one just really standard issue, straight white guy, comedian who talked to me once. And he was like, he sounded like he was talking about like he survived like time in the war, and he was like, when you get on and when you have the mic, and I just get so nervous, and you don't give any relief, and I just get so, I don't know what you're gonna say. And I was like, my brother in Christ, like, are you gonna make it? Are you okay? And so it feels kind of nice because I'm, can be a vindictive little bitch, truth be told.
Yeah, I feel like I know who you're talking about just on that impression, but I'll bring it up later and see if it's actually that person.
Let's roast him now. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we can talk about that later. So, okay. So, who would you say are your biggest, like your favorite comedians and like your biggest influences on your comedy? Other than like me, that's implied.
Yeah, that's why it's weird because I don't know if there is anyone else.
You saw me and you said I've crossed oceans of time.
All I had before I saw you was just telling people to give it up for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you came in and I was like, oh, there's another way.
It was like the scene from A Beautiful Mind with all the like formulas floating around your head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, but I don't think I've seen that movie. But
it's about a schizophrenic. Spoilers. He's really smart.
Yeah. I don't know. I've always been, I really am, I think I'm mostly just like I crave attention. I always have. And that's probably just from my terrible childhood. And I found solace at school. That was like the nice place to be. And then I also was always trying to get people to laugh. And that was it. I was always just like class clown. And not only that, I was like, I want the teacher to laugh too. So that I want everyone to laugh. And now I go to the principal's office, I'm going to make the principal laugh too. Mm-hmm. And I don't care. Also, like I didn't care. Nothing. It was all bullshit to me. Everything's just always been an illusion of bullshit and power that people try to exercise over each other. And that's just something I've held with me since I was young. Also, when I was very young, still at the same time frame, I was like, I distinctly remember not being, like I would tell a joke and adults would laugh at me. Like, oh, look, the kid, he's acting like an adult. But like, I remember being like, no, I'm telling the joke as a person. And
I need your input on the material.
Yeah, like
right.
I want it to be like,
give me some notes.
Respect me, respect my joke. I'm not just being copying you or whatever. And so like that always sat with me where I was like, when I grow up, I want to respect children give them the same respect that I wanted or something. So I think that
so we are going to have 8 child comics.
8 child comics.
On our lineup for the show.
8?
So you've heard it here first. You've expressed this heartstream.
Yeah.
And I'm here to support it. So
yeah, so that's the kids. That's where a lot of my stuff comes from.
That sounded really creepy. Like, don't just go find kids. They can bring them here.
No, you can. Yeah, just don't grab them.
I guess you could technically locate them, and it'd probably be better if you located them generally instead of seeking out specific ones.
Yeah, and if they're strange kids, then you should maybe also include their parents. Like, talk to their parents about it.
Yeah. I mean, I think we probably should talk to any parent about...
Unless it's your kid. Then you would be weird just talking to yourself. This
bloodline dies with me. I'm pretty sure any eggs I have left are like Willem Dafoe, Green Goblin babies. We're not doing that. Not doing that. But...
that would be nice.
I would still contact
It's funny
myself.
You think that's a bad thing. I think that's an interesting, good thing.
You said, I think that's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Let's get some Green Goblin babies.
Yeah. Okay, well, I will work on that. I will have 8 for the lineup.
Just keep allowing all the straight white guys that get uncomfortable with your comedy reproduce, but you don't reproduce any Green Goblins to counter them?
Well, yeah, now it feels like a moral obligation, and I don't appreciate that because I'm already really busy. Okay? Got a lot on my plate.
I'm just kidding. I could care less what you do, as long as you're happy.
Give it up is the Planned Parenthood motto.
Give it up for Green Goblin babies.
Oh man, take us to the hospital. We're sick. Okay.
So yeah, I'm
but
still
any
a child.
particular comedians though?
Particular comedians? Yes, I do have one. I don't publicly mention him. And then Norm Macdonald is very crucial. He's like
Sorry, I just delayed processing time that like there's this like elusive.
well, this person did a bad job in real life, but as a student of comedy, I would be absurd to not study his style. So
like a Weinstein situation.
As an artist, I am a student of this person, but I'm not going to promote this person because the horrors. In real life, they fucked up.
Fair enough.
Anyway, that's that person. And then Norm Macdonald, Dave Chappelle, pre-Chappelle show. I do think Chappelle show's funny, but I'm talking about stand-up right now. His two and a half specials before the show are like perfection. They're hilarious. One of them kind of saved me when I was in a really dark place when I was 14 or something. And I just like immediately memorized all his stuff, and I could do most of his specials before his show. Like I know all of those jokes.
Nice.
Sometimes I just yell random punchlines, and like no one would ever. Only a few people understand what I'm saying. That's
me with Maria Bamford.
Yeah, so. Maria Bamford's awesome.
Yeah, she's my real mom.
Yeah.
I'm convinced of it.
Yeah, I don't like his lazy shit, Chappelle's lazy shit. But yeah, so I'd say early Chappelle, Norm Macdonald, that one guy I was talking about, and yeah, I think that those are the bigger guys, the like Mount Rushmore people. And then on the like smaller, they're not there yet. I think Rory Scovel is amazing. The way he just has fun. And everyone loves Nate Bargatze. I love Nate Bargatze too. But he's so dumb that like I just can't. There's nothing I can really glean from him. I just enjoy him. So I hear other people trying to sound like him or do stuff like him. I just can't do it because I'm not dumb in that way. I am dumb, but like he is dumb. If you listen to his podcast, like he's just a dumb person, and that's great. I love that.
They're happier.
I love that so much that that is who he is, and he's so good at it.
Yeah.
So there's some influence there, but just like realizing that being smart on stage isn't always funny.
Yes.
Be silly. Be dumb.
Yes. Yeah, no, I think it takes a certain level of intellect and a certain level of courage to just be fully silly. Because it goes so against, like, how we're programmed as adults, right? Yeah. And you're like, no, I'm just going to have silly times. We're just going to go Looney Tunes for a bit. Like, I feel like that takes more than people realize sometimes.
Yeah, it's like dancing. You got to be vulnerable. You got to let go in front of a bunch of people.
Yeah, my Insta algorithm is pretty finely catered at this point. And I had it recommended a 7-day twerk program to release trauma in my hips.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if I'm ready for that vulnerability.
Yeah, it sounds like pain too.
Yeah. Tylon already mentioned breakdancing. So I'm feeling a little overwhelmed.
Do you dance at all?
Yes, badly. But
What are the situations that you dance in?
I mean, like if there's like a party where other people are dancing.
Yeah, you're gonna get down.
I'm gonna be dancing.
Okay.
I dance at home all of the time. Like just like doing chores and also just I think that my cat and dog, it cheers them up because they have a hard life. So I try to give them performances sometimes. But yeah.
Do they dance?
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
This thing?
Yeah.
You grab their paw and make them do this.
Yeah. Well, Sharky or Goose does his little tippy tappies. Like he kind of.
Oh, this is your dog.
Kind of wriggles. Yeah. Kind of swims through
He's
life.
stoked about whatever you're about to give him food or a treat. Or something.
He always wins at poker because he's got a pair of shoulders every time. I don't know what that is. But Goose dances, yes. Sharky mostly shits on beds.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Your cat shits on your bed?
Yeah.
What's the deal with that?
It's pretty much anytime I bring someone home. So I'm just supposed to be single forever.
So it's like you walk in with someone and then the cat goes and shits on the bed.
It's happened that quickly before, but usually it's like clockwork within a day. I think he just feels like it's the most efficient, effective way to communicate what he has to communicate with me.
Yeah.
His feelings. Yeah. So, all right, I'm going to look at my note cards. I don't know, this podcasting, it kind of feels like a date, you know? I get a little nervous.
Oh, are we on a date?
You get kind of nervous. It kind of makes me feel like you're on a date. Except, on a real date, I would obviously have my pink note cards. Scented ones.
Just remember not to fuck up.
I'm not a monster. Okay. Do you karaoke?
Karaoke?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I karaoke recently.
What's your go-to? What's your go-to karaoke song?
I try to keep moving it along because you can't do the same thing over and over.
Oh, can't you?
You can. But if you're with the same people, then, there's maybe I'm just someone who likes to move it along. How about that?
Give it up.
Give it up. Do a different karaoke song. Give it up. Some classic go-tos. My current one, the one I did last week, was the B-52s, Give Me Back My Man. Which is funny. What's funny is I did this a week ago, but there's a long intro, so I started doing Give It Up during the intro. And then when the first songs came on, I was so stuck in that mindset that I was started tripping.
That's this is why you don't actually want to be friends with comics.
Yeah.
People think that it would be fun, but it's actually not.
Yeah.
Because we can't stop
Yeah.
looking for the bit.
Yeah.
We can't turn it off. I sat in a corner and wrote jokes at the Met for 3 hours because I thought my material was funnier and more important to capture than looking. I walked into a second room and I was like, oh, what's in here? Cool. More vases. I don't care.
You went all the way there just to write.
Yep. Went to the Met to write my jokes.
That's not that crazy though. It's still a great place to be creative, It's not like you went all the way to, what's a bad example?
Michigan.
Yeah, somewhere where you don't need or want to be.
Right.
You went all the way to Michigan to write a joke.
Freaking, yeah, Michigan.
Because there's nothing funny about Michigan. Detroit's kind of funny.
I don't have any Michigan anecdotes.
Oh, one time I was in Ann Arbor and I stayed at a co-op and they were doing this new thing where they hang out naked with each other.
This new thing?
Yeah.
What's the password? Orgy.
But they were like, we're just trying to get really comfortable being naked, so we've just been getting naked. Is that okay with y'all? And we're like, duh, whatever, who gives a shit? And I was totally into it, whatever, get naked. Maybe I would like to be that way too. And then I was young, I was 20, 21. And they all got naked, and we were all just sitting there, and most of the people in the room were naked, and we're just hanging out, drinking and smoking or whatever we're doing.
That sounds like hell.
And I remember just being like, I think I'm the one who has to work through stuff. Y'all are the ones who are naked. I feel like it's weirder for me. Anyway, I'm comfortable being naked in a crowd now.
Good for you.
Because if you're the naked one, it's actually the easier spot to be in. If you're the non-naked one, now you're the one who's uncomfortable. But you'd only know that through the experience of going to a co-op and being around naked people.
Yeah. Hard pass.
So next
Hard
time,
pass. I've got a healthy dose of shame for my body, and that it exists, that the church gave me.
Yeah.
I was able to shake off most things, but that remains. So
you shook off most of it, but you couldn't shake your clothes off.
No, I couldn't give it up. Couldn't give them up.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You don't need
I would like more clothes most of the time. Like if people are suggesting less clothes, I'm like, I would like to put more clothing on.
Yeah. If it wasn't, you would be great in the Arctic Circle, maybe.
You know, if I had a nickel for every time I heard that. Yeah.
A lot of times I only wear clothes because it's the law.
Yeah.
Or because something might get me, you know? I'm afraid something just snag me.
Practicality purposes.
Yeah, like a tree limb or something.
Just covering some surface area.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, so I'm going to do a really smooth transition. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, music. Soul and spirits is obviously, music is a big part of it.
Oh, okay.
The theme that music and beer are two things that bring people together.
All right.
So what would you say what are some of your favorite musicians, artists? What are some songs you've got on repeat right now?
Well, this is a Memphis soul bar. Is that what this is? Should I say my favorite Memphis soul music?
No, just in general. I mean, they hired me and they asked, I answered honestly. They were like, what kind of music do you mostly listen to? And I was like, divorced dad rock mostly.
Yeah.
Like divorced dad just moved into studio apartment, has one framed movie poster propped against the wall on the floor, and he's taking selfies to put on a dating profile. Whatever music would be playing in the back of that is what I rock out to most of the time. And then they were like, well, what was playing in the car when you parked here? And I was like, Your Love by the Outfield. Josie's on a vacation for her. That's a banger.
Yeah.
That slaps every time.
Do you think that is in the same genre as the one you just described?
No, definitely not.
I don't think so either.
I mean, even I, like to keep people guessing sometimes.
Yeah, I like that genre though. I'm gonna be thinking about it for a while. I'm gonna say first. I'm just because this is a soul bar in Memphis. I'll say my favorite Memphis soul song is Rufus Thomas' 60 Minute Man. And it's all about just being someone who can fuck forever. Even though he says 60 minutes, which the song, it just makes sense with the rhythm of the song or whatever. But one time I played that and my friend was like, 60 minutes is not that impressive. And I was like, just love the song. Do not be, I'm
sorry. I don't know. Like,
you're
60 minutes. I got stuff to do. Like, that's, again, hard pass.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
You could do it like 4 or 5 times in that span of time. That's just inefficient.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do a lot in 60 minutes. And so can Rufus Thomas.
Apparently. Yeah.
My favorite music, I listen to a lot of cumbia. Do you know what this is?
No.
I keep telling people I think it's going to be like a big thing in like 5 years. It's on its way up in the States, but across the rest of
aren't you dialed
the
in?
Latin world, but like anywhere south of the United States, it's like big. Every country has their version of cumbia, and the only way I can describe it is like the way that rock and roll is to the United States, cumbia is to. So there's even like a king, like the Elvis of it, and blah 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 blah. But it's great. I love that music. I don't really know. The only thing I say is just like if you even are listening or care, just like dial into some cumbia station and listen to it.
I don't want to be reminded of my Panamanian ex.
Okay, then don't do that. You know what? Panama's the only country that doesn't listen to it.
Thank you. Thank you for specifying that. I'll check it out now. I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I listen to like that a lot, and I listen to like a lot of psychedelic rock and garage rock. So Wand is probably my biggest. I listen to a lot of Wand. So
Yeah.
I don't
Love me some Wand. The one single, I'm gonna treat you just fine, is probably my favorite. Followed closely by Drugs. I've never heard Wand before, but I'll check them out. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I was picking up on it.
But
I thought you were going to say,
I do think that they
followed by this is playing in the background while I'm trying to get my life together or whatever. Like whatever that genre, the genre that was like, a paragraph long.
Yeah.
That genre.
Yeah.
So you're going to squeeze it in there.
Yeah.
Listen to Wand, listen to Cumbia, and listen to local Memphis music. Let me do one local Memphis artist. How about Optic Sync? This is a great band. Mm-hmm. These are my friends. They make great music to dance to.
I have not been to one of their shows, but I've actually heard good things about them.
Oh, yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah.
It's like, feels good. And
need to bring Goose.
That's how you dance to it.
Pair of shoulders.
When you're in a chair.
Wait, you're just in chairs?
When you're in a chair, that's how you dance.
Okay.
If I wasn't in the chair, I'd show you how to dance. They're going to play soon. You should go. They're going to play Saturday night. Hey, I'm promoting another show.
There you go. Support local
Memphis art. Support it.
Give it up.
Give it up for local Memphis art.
Okay. We're going back to the note cards. Okay. What is one of the funniest or weirdest or craziest things that have happened at one of your shows? Like when you're doing a set or a mic?
Funniest, craziest, weirdest things that's happened at a show while I was on stage.
Yeah, or an open mic.
I kind of got heckled. The first time I got heckled, yeah, that's probably the weirdest thing that's happened. Because I've had some people they're not trying to heckle; they're just talking. Mm-hmm. They don't know that they're being disruptive.
Right.
But this person, I made a very dark joke.
Oh, you got some dark ones.
Yeah.
Which I, of course, freaking love. Because I'm not, dark humor is great and powerful and there for a reason. But also, it's not just me that people are at a few of the jokes that are in your list every time. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like to start with them too. So I started with this one. I know at a show I wouldn't start with it, but I just like to go there sometimes just to mix it up depending on the vibe. I want to wake people up or whatever, or just piss them off. But yeah, I just said something really dark about it was that thing, that submersible that collapsed, and because it was shoddy.
Okay, and the fact that you were judged on that, we are all going to hell over that. The amount of meme content and real content that was produced.
Yeah.
About that incident.
Yeah, this is
madness.
4 billionaires died or something, but this is still. I got on stage, I said, how much longer until we're positive that they're dead? Because there was a countdown, they had 6 hours of reserve oxygen or something. So there was still they might not be dead. There's still a chance they could be alive. They're looking for them still. So I just got on stage and said, how long until we know? And someone was everyone's just 6 hours or something. It's cool, I can't wait until 6 hours. That's all I said. Which is to me me just being I could give a shit less about this news story. Mm-hmm. I could give a shit less about these people. They're rich, they're going on a crazy adventure, they fucked up. Why are we talking about this? There's so many more important things to talk about, and we're all just talking about this one dumb thing. That's the point I was making. But this guy in the back, he just goes, ha ha, ha ha, because they're dead, right? Ha ha. He just kept doing that. And I was like, about to engage him, but the host kicked him out, I was upset about that. But it got like really weird to where like everyone, like the guy was really strange, and then everyone's like afraid that he's gonna walk back in with a gun or something weird, like that kind of energy.
One of those.
Yeah.
Yep.
Billionaire supporter.
Yeah.
With a gun.
Jeez
So
Louise.
that's probably the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing, but
That's
I haven't
fair.
really had a lot of weird stuff happen.
Which is probably a positive thing. Right?
Yeah, if that's the weirdest, then that's good.
Yeah.
I have pissed people off. That's not true. I have pissed people off.
Well, I mean, if you're not pissing someone off,
I'm pissing on them.
right? Then you're not taking enough risks.
Yeah, and I have to piss you off. I have to piss off you. If I'm pissing on you, then I have to piss off of you eventually.
Yeah, it bounces
And onto something else,
It's
or
the physics
I
of
run
it.
out.
Yeah, the physics. There's going to be ricochet.
Ricochet, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually who I was pissing on.
I love him. Great. I'm glad we covered that. All right, good deal. Okay, so is there anything right now that you want to promote or?
About myself?
Mm-hmm.
No, I write a lot and try to do new stuff all the time and try to just hone this. I don't think that I'm that great, so I just am trying to get better. And I think the best way is to just keep writing and going to open mics. I think that it would be nice.
I wouldn't have put you on the set list if you weren't good.
Thanks. I do have shows that I'm doing. I'm doing this show. It's what's it called? Soul and Spirits on August 16th at 7 p.m. Is that right?
7:30, I think.
Just show up at 7. Have a beer.
Well, yeah, you got to have. You get a beer included in your ticket price.
Ah. So it's like really a $10 ticket.
Less than that, really.
If you're drinking a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm going to be on Tommy's podcast, And For What. Do you know this?
I've seen some clips.
He just asks like the best, worst questions ever. And then it's on the surface, it seems like he's just asking you a really fucked up question. But then he digs, and when he digs into your answer, it starts to reveal your values and like our values as as Americans or whatever. Which he did this live, and that was great because there was a whole audience there reacting to the thing. So we all kind of collectively had to like face certain taboos and like values that we wouldn't normally have to face just off of this weird question that he asked.
Fair enough.
So that's exciting because, I don't know, it's fun. Check out Tommy Oler, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to do another show at Hampline Brewery.
Yeah, that's like the end of August, right?
Yeah, and that's going to be like a stand-up on the spot thing. You're on that, right?
No, I'll be out of town.
Psh, sucker.
Going to the beach.
Oh, never mind. That's way better.
Yep. It's a yearly trip.
Are you going to go all the way to the beach just to write for 3 hours?
Yeah, I'm not going to even go to the ocean.
Oh, you're not. I was thinking you're like in the dunes. You didn't even go.
Yeah, no, I'm going to stay in like the really like kitschy condo.
You're not even going to the dunes. You're just in the condo.
Yeah. I got my notebook and I got these guys. That's all the vacation I need. Am I right? Yeah. All these brains. All these jokes up here.
All these mosquitoes in my skull flying around.
Bees. Yeah.
Bees, okay.
Yeah. So.
Where's the cicadas?
Yeah, no, everyone was making it seem like it was going to be this major apocalyptic thing. I was really scared about
I've heard
it.
3 or 4.
Yeah, like there's been some, and I hate them, but I was really expecting like Exodus plague level, and it's not been like that.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Bee and Puppy Cat?
Bee and Puppy Cat? No, that sounds beautiful though.
It's this cartoon, and they just have all these like, they'll have these little random asides, and one of them, Puppy Cat, who is like a puppy cat from space, basically. He's holding a cicada, trying to figure out what it is, and the cicada is just waving its wings, and it's just going, who wants to make a million babies with me? Who wants to make a million babies with me? Who wants to make a million babies with me? So that's all I hear now when I hear cicadas buzzing.
Yeah.
I mean, but you got to appreciate their commitment. Like, they spend 17 years underground, and then they're above ground, and they're ready to fuck.
That's all they do. Yeah.
And then they die.
Yeah, they get eaten.
Yeah.
You know, like every population, like bird population, squirrels, cat, like anything, all the things that eat cicadas, they explode in the years that they emerge. Like they're super reproductive. They have way more babies survive and all that stuff because it's just like so much fodder, so much extra food. Which is
I didn't think I was going to hear fodder today. That's a treat. Thank you.
Yeah.
Not literally. I was we're talking about we're talking about some gross things for me to say it's a treat, but
yeah, I'm glad in the middle of that scientific fact you could find the funny word. Because I forgot this is a comedy podcast.
Leave it to me. No, I'm. Who are you talking to? Please tell me more about cicada predators, because I will talk about this all day. People have buried their phones in the bottom of a trash can at this point, if they're still listening.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like, and that's them.
I was confused. I was like, oh yeah, that is how people watch this.
Them's the breaks, kid. Yeah. Okay, so if you could go back in time, let's say if you had to go back in time, like 1 year ago, and then you had to go forward in time 1 year ago, and give yourself like one piece of advice.
I went back in time and I came back to the present?
Well, okay.
Say it again.
Let me word that better.
You want me to go back in time 1 year and give myself advice?
Yeah, so like if you go back in time 1 year, and then I guess maybe let's change it to like, what would you like to see this time next year in your life?
Okay. So if I go back, I'm going to go back in time 1 year and give myself advice.
Mm-hmm.
A year ago, I finished my first sketch and published it on the internet. So that was a big deal. So I was very stoked. And I went to Georgia to hang out with my friends, and I got a terrible sunburn. I would tell myself to put sunscreen on my body that day because I was like a lobster for like a week or two.
That's the worst.
I think I would tell myself to wear sunscreen.
Yeah, that'd probably be good advice.
Probably if I went back at any point in my life, I would just tell myself to put sunscreen on.
Probably you and Conan O'Brien, the same.
Wear more sunscreen. Yeah, I've got like these like dark, big, massive freckles, but there's also like they're white. It's like whiter than my skin. Like they're like negative. It's like burnt. Like it's like and that's from like being like 5 and just running around in circles in the front yard. And we were like, my dad and his best friend, they're like me and my best friend were like the exact same age, and my dad and his best friend were the same age, and we looked exactly like them. But we would like trick our dads into letting us drink beer. We just want to try it. Come on, just let us try it.
We
did that like 5 times. Give it up. Give your kids beer. But then, like, at a certain point, they were so drunk that they were just like, we would just walk up behind them and drink the beer. So we were pretty much drunk. And we'd just be running in circles, chasing each other and laughing. And then all of a sudden, I'm like cooked, a lobster. I've got like all these freckers on my shoulder.
I just like have to appreciate that, like, this podcast has meandered down a path. And where we've arrived right now is like you actually physically pulling your shirt over to illustrate the different kind of freckles you have.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, yeah. So that's the advice I would give myself.
Yeah.
And where I want to be in 1 year is
without
alive,
skin cancer.
Alive, no cancer. Using sunscreen all the time.
Yes.
Also, I've been using it really well all summer, but last week, I've been working on my roof, and I just forgot to put it on, and I have the best farmer's tan. Isn't that good?
Nice.
You're jealous of my farmer's tan.
I'm jealous of any tan at this point.
It's more of a red. It's not tan. But yeah, then in 1 year, I would like to be alive, not wearing sunscreen, and continuing to like write
Yeah.
and perform.
Right.
And that's it. That's all I want.
Fair enough.
I want the process. I've fallen in love with the process. Write and perform. And just
Cry in the fetal position.
Be present.
Go back and write more.
Like, I don't want to fast forward 10 years to where I'm a professional comedian. I want to, like, I don't want to be in 10 years if I am a when I am a professional comedian. I don't want to be like, I don't remember the last 10 years.
You don't want to hit the montage button.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Skip and have the montage.
Yeah, I've already I recognize that like life is very short, and I want to enjoy the process right now. This is where I'm at, and I will never be here ever again. This is me a year and a half in, and I will never be this way again. I'll get better. I'll have setbacks, whatever. That's all going to happen. But generally, I'm going to get better and better and better. And I'm not trying to rush. I don't want to rush it.
No.
By the time if I get there quickly, then I'm going to be like, where was the other? That was 10 years gone.
Yeah.
So I just
no, I think
want to maintain that.
I think that's a good way to. I think that's a good way to look at it. You know. Yeah, I never really. I mean, I started doing comedy as kind of a lifeline for me, not really with plans for it to be anything other than an outlet. And I still don't really know. I know I want to keep doing it, but for me, like, I've never like been like, I want to be famous. You know, like, it's not about that for me. Like, sometimes I actually actively hate being perceived, which is very weird and ironic that I pick stand-up comedy to just be very visible and vulnerable in front of people. But yeah, something about the process, you know, something about what it makes you like kind of rearrange and alchemize within yourself to write it and then try to convey it to people. Yeah, it's special.
Yeah. A hard part of it is being public. I'm not also I'm not particularly interested in fame. But also, if I become a professional comedian, there will be some level of fame.
Right. Yeah.
Even
part of it.
Now, as a complete amateur, there is a small level of not fame, but recognition, where like people recognize me from when they saw me do something. And they're like, I liked it when you did that one thing. I loved hearing that. That's great.
Yeah.
The downside to that is that people think they know you, and that's okay, except when they know you, if that makes sense. Misunderstand you.
Yeah. Misperceive, like perceive you incorrectly.
Yeah. And that's when it's kind of problematic, because then it starts to mess with me, like, and my understanding of who I am, but also how am I projecting myself? Am I projecting myself appropriately to where people think?
And then once you get in your head about that, and you're trying to like caveat all of your writing to make sure that you're as clear as possible, so that people don't
funny anymore.
Understand you. You're not going to be funny anymore, so you can't be in your head about it. Like, people are going to misunderstand you. You know, people are there are going to be people who make assumptions about you and like create like realities about you and your intentions that just aren't fact. That has been really hard for me too.
Yeah.
Like, just releasing that control, putting something out there and just recognizing that there are people that will just completely, you know.
Yeah. And there's so many things that I have no control over, and that's just how it's going to be. And I just like, it's fine. It's like an exercise in me figuring out how to get people to understand where I'm coming from, so that when I do get into more pushy, controversial stuff, they can understand that I'm coming from a certain place, like I'm not being bigoted. I'm having fun with this world that we have to live in or whatever.
Yeah.
That's
like
not a
you
huge
can
problem,
shine
but
a light on like hypocrisy and double standards. But people think that you mean those things like literally and you were in support of the things you're making fun of.
Right.
And you're just like, dang it, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, beans. Yeah.
Sometimes people are just like, last week someone was just like, I really liked your set. I'm like, thank you. I really like that gay stuff you did. And I'm like, I can't tell if you mean that because you're a homophobe or if you mean that because you understood where I was coming from.
You got it, and you actually appreciated the material.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah, I'm not used to being recognized. It's happened to me a few times, and I've been really weird about it each time. Like, some people came in the bar, and they were like, you look really familiar. And it did not even cross my mind that they would have seen me performing.
You're like, I'm Maria Bamford.
No, I literally, like, I stood there for a second, and I was like, I've had several people say I look like Orlando Bloom. That might be what you're thinking of. And they were like, no. I was just clueless. I just did not even cross my mind. That was not an option. Like, I guess I thought that, like, I exist in a vacuum during the times when I'm performing.
Yeah.
And then, like, my life outside of it, like, it feels very different, you know?
Yeah.
It feels very different when you're in that, like, performer role. And you're not, it's kind of weird. It's definitely a weird vulnerability.
Yeah, I think it's important to, like, try not to let too much of it. Like, I think it's important to listen to the audience and other people. I do think that's important because it's going to make me work on my stuff and hone it better and maybe try to make sure that I'm presenting myself the right way. But then it's also like, but don't take too much of it in because then I'll just drive you crazy and then you won't be doing anything. Or you might
you start to cut away who you actually are. You're like your actual voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And start like ruining jokes or ruining the silliness because you're too focused on, you know, trying to make sure everyone's going to get it all at the same time.
Right.
And then it's like, oh, I just added 20 words to this premise so that everyone would understand what I'm saying. And then by the time I got to the punchline, everyone's just like, this is not funny. It's not.
Yeah. No, I had to even take a break from comedy for a while because, like, I was turning all of my jokes into almost like a TED Talk to, like, spread awareness about things. And I was like, this isn't funny. Like, I have to stop.
Yeah.
Like, stop it. This is not a joke. Like, yeah. So I get that.
I did that with the word sphincter at one open mic. I thought it would be very funny to just just to define the word. And I was just like, I'm just going to do one fact every set now and just slowly raise the consciousness of every audience. And no one thought it was funny at all. I just thought it'd be funny to just start defining anatomical features on human bodies one at a time.
I think you should follow your bliss.
I think if I was at TEDx, then they would have been like, thank you. But at the Lamplighter, they're like, can you do the, like, bestiality joke again?
Yeah.
No,
I think that's one of the things. Like, Memphis is, like, I love my city, born and raised here, but it is a small comedy scene, and there's only certain, like, comedic voices and perspectives that are going to be, like, widely understood and appreciated. And in other cities, there would be tons of people who would be on the same wavelength as you and appreciate that and get the joke. And I think that's where it can be challenging, like that. Yeah, towing that tension of not alienating your audience and, like, wanting them to have a good time, but staying true to what your voice is.
So Jana started this new mic. It's Girls, Gays, and Theys, once a month, third Wednesday, Lamplighter. And last week was decent. The first month, I murdered. Like, it was such a good show.
I loved that show. It was so freaking fun. Like, and just the energy and almost,
the energy was amazing. I've told that 5 minutes of jokes I've been telling for a while. And, like, I was getting to the point where I was like, I can't tell if these are even, like, I think they're great. Mm-hmm. People do laugh at them, but, like, I can't tell if they're get if they're as hard hitting as I think they are, or if people are laughing. Sometimes again, like, is this a homophobe in the audience laughing at it or whatever?
Right.
Like, I can't tell if you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
So then I do this like very queer centric set, or it's Mike. I do the set there, and like constant laughter the entire time. Like on parts of those jokes, like that people have never laughed that hard. They're just laughing. And I was like, oh, this is like
An
this is my
audience that
Yeah.
understands and appreciates these jokes. Yes.
There's a difference between, there is definitely a difference
Yes.
between these people who came to hear this. They totally understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
Versus the ding dong at the bar who didn't even show up for stand up. And it's just like, what the hell are you
Listening to
talking
Divorced
about?
Dad Rock. He just skated in on it.
Divorced Dad Rock.
Yeah, he just skated in on his Heelys, Breaking Benjamin playing.
Oh my God.
Your feelings should be really
There
hurt
are
that he
divorced
didn't.
dads with Heelys now. Holy shit.
The bleakest fact of the day. Oh man, well, we better wrap up. I don't want to monopolize all of your time, but yes, super excited to have you on the show. I think it's going to be very fun. We're going to make some history, having a little show in this, our first comedy show at Soul and Spirits here in the Low Tones room. So yeah, thanks for making time, and excited to do some stand up with you, the real thing.
Likewise. Thanks, Jana.
Thank you, and good night.
Bye, spirits.